Good evening, everyone. If I can get you to take your seats. All right, we'll do one last photo, and then we'll take our seats. All right, everyone, good evening. It's a rowdy bunch. Yes, thank you. I love that. We had a couple people I'm not coordinated enough to do this. Oh, that worked. Yes. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 20th edition of the Booklovers Ball, a cherished fundraiser for the Pueblo Library Foundation. This year, we're thrilled to transform the Rawlings Library into a vibrant celebration of literature and community. My name is Nick Potter, and I'm honored to serve as the Executive Director of the Library Foundation, and tonight I will serve as your MC for this beautiful event. Thank you. I hope that you are transported this evening to a beautiful evening in Jaipur, India by our beautiful room. We aim to provide a delightful ambiance inspired by our chosen book for this year's All Pueblo Reads project, The Henna Artist by Alka Joshi, who is here with us this evening. The Henna Artist provides a rich cultural tapestry and is written as a vivid story. Through this novel, the All Pueblo Reads 2024 project has aimed to develop activities, programs, and events, as well as decorations that reflect and supplement the Henna Artist, bringing a touch of Jaipur, India to Pueblo, Colorado. As I mentioned earlier, this is the 20th year, or the 20th edition, as we call it, of All Pueblo Reads. Over the years, this program has celebrated a diverse array of books that have captivated our community. For 20 years, the Pueblo Library has hosted All Pueblo Reads, engaging our community in reading and discussion around a chosen book. This program brings world-class authors to Pueblo, showing our community that authors are celebrated just as much as music or movie stars and celebrities. Each year, All Pueblo Reads has a goal to foster a love of reading and lifelong learning. This program aspires to bring members of our community together to share their literary experience and provide meaningful community engagement while celebrating our chosen book. All Pueblo Reads loosely began in 2003. The program looked very different from what we do today, but its basic concept of featuring one book and engaging in conversation remains the same. The first book featured was Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. For those not familiar with this book, Fahrenheit 451 is about a future society where books are banned and firemen burn any that are found. The act of book burning brings one fireman on a journey to discover the power of literature and free thought. I personally cannot think of a more perfect book to start the legacy of All Pueblo Reads. This book pairs wonderfully with the work of the public library, providing awareness of the vital role of libraries in conserving and preserving free speech, free access, and information, as well as fostering intellectual freedom. Other notable authors since we started the program includes titles, as well as our first author of PCCLD. Sorry, I went off my script. You guys are going to take back your applause of me being the MC. The first author that we brought in person was author Amy Tan, and we celebrated her renowned work, The Joy Luck Club. Jumping forward to 2010, PCCLD featured its first young adult author, Sherman Alexie, author of The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. In 2012, All Pueblo Reads featured its first Colorado-based author, featuring Plainsong by Kent Arif. The Cold Dish by Craig Johnson allowed us to celebrate the Longmire series with the author and none other than Lou Diamond Phillips himself. The pandemic brought some creative solutions to All Pueblo Reads, necessitating Pulitzer Prize Award nominee Tim O'Brien, the author of The Things They Carried, to be our first virtual author. In 2021, renowned cookbook author Yodam Ottolenghi served as PCCLD's first featured cookbook, discussing the importance of vegetables and spices in our meals. And recently, PCCLD has continued to bring award-winning first-class authors, featuring Kristen Hanna in 2022 with The Four Winds, and just last year featuring Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Thank you for joining us for 20 years of All Pueblo Reads. I am proud to add The Henna Artist by Alka Joshi to this list of first-class authors, and I look forward to many years, many authors, and many books to come. So before we break for dinner, I would like to bring Jerry Carter from Avian's up here, or from Aladdin's, sorry, we had a little change, to talk about everything that's on your table, as well as everything that you will partake in our buffet line. We know that this is very different from what we've done before, and so Jerry's here to walk us through everything on our table and everything that you'll experience up at the buffet line.
Nick said I can't move or something. I just don't have to live like that. So thank you, everyone. Thank you to the library for letting us be here again. It's one of our favorite events that we do every year, and every year it gets more creative. And so when Sarah reached out and said, hey, let's do some Indian food, I said, well, let's do it. So took it to our culinary team with our amazing executive chefs, and hopefully we prepare something that you'll enjoy this evening for you. Just for starters, we had a lamb kebab at the door and a vegetarian samosa to greet you. And on your table this evening, some of you have already partaken with the dessert, which is fine. And again, my pronunciation may be incorrect, but the donut looking thing is a gulab jamun, which is a very, very, very famous Indian dessert. And I spoke with the author earlier, and I'm very proud to present this food to her tonight as well. And I think we've done a very good job. So the other dessert is like an Indian bread pudding, if you will. And of course, naan bread, which is for all from Pueblo, the equivalent of the Indian tortilla. And it's a staple at an Indian restaurant. It's very good. And tonight, everything except for the bread and dessert is gluten-free. Sarah sent me a list of about 37 dietary requests. Maybe not that many, but so everything is gluten-free except the desserts and the naan. Everything on the buffet you can have, as well as the salads on the table. The salad is a chickpea salad with cilantro and also a cucumber tomato salad. If anyone would like the menu with the Indian names, please reach out to Sarah and Nick, and we can give you that if you're interested for either a personal party or general information. We have basmati rice, tandoori chicken, Indian beef curry, chicken masala, and a vegetarian masala as well out there tonight. Everything is said is gluten, dairy-free, and of course to be marked vegetarian if it is. So please enjoy. Thank you very much.
And before we break for dinner, I have one more piece of information to give you, and I'd like to draw your attention to a piece of paper at your table. The paper is titled, "Do you have a question for Alka Joshi?" So if you want your question to be presented to Alka during our question and answer piece of our program, just write your question. We have a beautiful basket in between the doors in the back, so you can take that up there as you go to grab your food off of the buffet line. Just drop it in that basket, and we will bring it up for our Q&A session. And we have a delicious meal prepared for you that I'm sure that you're ready to partake in. It sounds like it. You guys are excited about it. We will be dismissing you all by table number. So Sarah and Amanda will start with our tables here at the front, and we will be coming around to let you know when it's your table's turn to go up to the buffet line. I know that the room smells delicious, and I know that you can't wait to partake in what we have for you, but we aim to have this organized so that everybody can get their food, quickly get sat down, and then we will get our program started. So with that, we will start to dismiss tables. And for our virtual audience watching this from afar, we will take a short 15-minute break while everyone has had a chance to plate their meal. So we will see you all shortly. Enjoy your meal. Thank you again for being here tonight. All right, welcome back, everyone. I think we have all of our meals plated. I love our library family. It's almost like old friends got back together, even though some of you have never sat with each other before in your lives. But you guys are friends now. So welcome to the library family, and I love that this feels just like a family dinner. I hope that you're enjoying your meal. The first thing I'd like to do is bring the chefs from Aladdin's up here to get a huge round of applause. Jerry and his team at Aladdin's, they are always game. They are always game whenever we have some crazy idea, like we are bringing a book about an octopus and we want to have octopus-looking sausages, or we have a book about India and we really want you guys to do something that embraces India. And they always embrace what we're doing, which allows us to just immerse the community in the programming that we're doing, in the book that we've chosen. And so I just wanted to thank them for their hard work and their dedication to making sure that we have flavorful, good food for 300 people. So thank you so much for showing your appreciation. Thank you. Yes, sir. So again, tonight we gather to celebrate literacy and lifelong learning. The Booklovers Ball marks the grand finale of All Pueblo Reads. Over the past month, the Pueblo City County Library District has welcomed thousands of guests to more than 200 programs and events as part of All Pueblo Reads. This evening, we have a special treat for you. So if you follow the Pueblo Library's social media, you will know Bandit the raccoon, PCCLD's special correspondent. He's our charming and witty raccoon coworker. He has become quite the celebrity around here, bringing joy and laughter to the coverage of our library programs and special events. We have a special segment from Bandit this evening so that you can hear from him and get an update about our Barkman branch. I would like to turn it over to him so he can share a bit about our libraries, the amazing work that our staff does, and the exciting transformations happening thanks to our capital campaign. So, without further ado, let's hear it from Bandits.
Hi everyone, my name is Bandit. I'm sort of the spokesperson, or spokes-raccoon if you will, for Pueblo City County Library District's programs and events. Now, you're probably wondering how I landed this position, and what credentials I have that qualified me, right? Well, don't! That's a lot of expectation for just a little old raccoon puppet! I want to thank you all for attending this year's All Pueblo Reads event. This wonderful community really does know how to come together. I'm so happy to be here, and thank goodness they let me record my introduction because, well, I have public speaking anxiety. It actually affects 1 in 4 raccoons each year. Our capital campaign has allowed us to do great things at our community's beloved libraries. After all, you're sitting in the beautiful Rawlings Library now, and just across town, our Barkman Library is shining and beautiful and open to the public after its renovation and expansion. If you haven't paid a visit, do so. It's amazing! Our amazing staff make our library sparkle and shine inside and out. Everything running smoothly and looking fabulous is no easy task. I had a chat with the awesome team at the Barkman Library. They shared their journey from managing the pre-renovated Barkman Library, closing it, for a big makeover and finally reopening it in a brand new, stunning space. Let's take a look.
My name is Alicia Griebel, and I'm the current manager of the Barkman Branch Library, and I lead an amazing team here. The thing that I missed the most about leaving and being away from the Barkman Branch is our regular patrons, our everyday fixtures. They become such a large part of our lives that when we left the branch to go to other places, it was really like moving away from and leaving friends behind. I adore the children's space. It is something that I think was just so essentially needed for the branch. And it's really become a wonderful place that our parents and caregivers need and have enjoyed for their families. Working for the library is so important, and I find it some days a very big honor because communities, our community library and any library is a focal point, and it connects the community. And it's an inclusive place where everyone can come and meet together, and they keep the communities connected.
I feel like I'm giving back to the community because Barkman was my library when I was in high school and college. It's definitely changed a lot since I was in high school and college, and I think definitely for the better. It's such a lovely library now. I've pretty much fallen in love with it all over again.
I always wanted to be a helper, and I didn't know exactly how to help. My undergrad was in psychology, so I knew I wanted to help, but coming here to the library showed me exactly how I want to help and in what capacity I want to help. So it means it's really self-fulfilling for me to be able to help people and, solve problems and just do what I can for them in that moment.
They did a really good job with the new library. It's much more open, everyone has their own space, it's a lot more modernized. I like having the opportunity to uplift people and kind of build a community and bring everyone together and give them opportunities that they wouldn't normally have.
I love this big new meeting space. The kids have their own area, the teens have their own area, and they even have a maker space, so it's easier to do activities with them and even do board games now. And this nice big old meeting room that we have behind us is super perfect for birthday parties, big gatherings, and meetings, and it's just gotten bigger and better, and it's really great for our community to have a bigger space for themselves.
Working for the Barkman Branch means providing a safe, inspiring place for everybody in the community to come and get the resources that they need and also come and just have fun with their community.
Don't we just have amazing people here at the library? A huge thank you to the Barkman team for sharing their story and for all of their work. Currently, our Patrick A. Lucero Library is closed for a similar renovation and expansion. Our amazing staff has set up a temporary library location at the beautiful El Centro del Quinto Sol. The Lucero Library team is working hard to serve Pueblo's east side, and we know they are just as excited as our Barkman team to serve their community in a beautiful new library facility. And thank you for joining us today. Remember, our libraries are here for you, sparkling and shining and providing Pueblo with the best possible public library experience. So visit your local library, come on in, and see what all the fuss is about. Until next time, this is Bandit, your friendly neighborhood spokes raccoon, signing off. Stay curious, Pueblo!
Well, Bandit, thank you so much for all of your coverage this year. As our spokes raccoon, you have done a stellar job of covering library events and programs. As Bandit said so eloquently, I don't know where he got his voice from. He's very eloquent. Our libraries are here for you. They sparkle, shine, and serve as a point of pride for many in our community. Now, as we continue to grow and improve, we need your support. As a fundraiser, the Booklovers Ball is a great way for you to support the Pueblo Library. We have many ways for you to show your support, including a give via text option. Your generous donations help us create these wonderful spaces and provide essential services to our community. If you'd like to donate tonight, simply text the word Henna to the phone number 50155, and the instructions are up on the screen. You will receive a reply message that enables you to fulfill your donation. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. Thank you for your support and for being part of our library family. Many of you have also already checked out our silent auction table and downloaded the Givey app. I have heard some very competitive but friendly bidding has been going on. So we want you to remember that your silent auction bids tonight go towards supporting the Pueblo Library so that it can help continue to make a positive impact within our community. As part of our fundraising efforts, please take time to visit the silent auction table and check in on the Givey app for silent auction items and updates. You have the opportunity to receive nearly 30 silent auction items, including a trip to Crested Butte, a family trip to the Great Wolf Lodge, and many fun night out experiences. The silent auction will close 10 minutes following the conclusion of this evening's program. Now, please allow me to thank the generous sponsors and underwriters of tonight's event. This event is not possible without the support from our wonderful sponsors. Many of the businesses and individuals sponsoring tonight's event also sponsored our summer reading program, which saw a record of nearly 9,000 participants who finished the program this year. I think that deserves a round of applause. They make such an impact on our community by supporting us, and we are truly grateful. I'd like to start tonight by thanking our sponsors at the diamond level. A huge thank you to our friends of the library and our Books Again bookstore, and Black Hills Energy. Thank you. Next, our sponsors at the platinum level. Minnequa Works Credit Union, and Ken and Gayla White Family Foundation. Thank you. And sponsors at the gold level include Bank of the San Juans, the City of Pueblo, Pueblo Community College, and HW Houston Construction. Thank you. And sponsors at the silver level include Benefits Broker, Credit Union of Colorado, Royal Electrical Services, Pueblo Community Health Center. Thank you so much. And sponsors at the bronze level include HBM Architects, InBank, and Pueblo Kiwanis Foundation. Thank you. Thank you all for your support of the Pueblo Library Foundation. Your support of the Booklovers Ball has made this event a great success. We are so grateful for your advocacy of library services in our community. Again, thank you. I am now pleased to introduce the board members who support, volunteer, and love our community's library, and who are here joining us this evening. When I read your name, please stand to be recognized. We will hold all applause until the very end. From the Pueblo City County Library District Board of Trustees, Frederick Quintana. Tricia Macias. Iris Clark. Woo. Jeffrey D. Herrera. Jesse Onis. And Doreen Martinez. From the Pueblo Library Foundation Board of Directors, Elizabeth Gallegos, Alexandria Romero, Joe Arrigo, Iris Clark, Jesse Onis, Antoinette Ramos, Teresa Terriot, and Gayla White. And from the Friends of the Pueblo Library Board of Directors, Marissa Stoller, Eric Siegel, Jan Hoover, Jeffrey D. Herrera, Brett Hollins, Antoinette Ramos, Adina Vega, Randy Mohar, and Nicole Whistler. The Pueblo Library is just so fortunate to have many people who volunteer, advocate, and support its current and future endeavors. The members of these boards, as well as our Books Again bookstore volunteers, we want to make sure we do not forget the 70 people who spend their time at the bookstore making sure that it shines and is beautiful. They're all true assets to PCCLD, and their efforts should be recognized, appreciated, and respected. Thank you. This year, as a way to provide a youth accompaniment to our All Pueblo Reads book, we chose a beautiful companion book called A Garden in My Hands by Mira Chiron. PCCLD partnered with Pueblo School District 60 and Pueblo County District 70 to bring Mira to 4 schools throughout Pueblo County. This book taught Pueblo's children about the tradition of henna, the rich Indian culture, and emphasizes the importance of cherishing and celebrating one's roots. As you can see from the images on your screen, Mira dazzled our school audiences. It's programs like these that make All Pueblo Reads so important. Children reading this book were given the opportunity to learn about people in different countries, read about cultural traditions other than that of their own, and were able to participate in storytelling that fosters empathy and inclusivity. This year, A Garden in My Hands and The Henna Artist were the feature titles for the All Pueblo Reads project. To achieve our goals, we made a concerted effort to ensure that book clubs, schools, families, and the broader community had ample opportunities to engage with these selected titles. Throughout the 2024 All Pueblo Reads initiative, we distributed hundreds of copies to our community, fostering a shared literary experience. And by doing so, we aim to promote literacy, cultural understanding, and a love for reading across our community. The discussions and events surrounding these books have enriched our community, bringing people together through the power of storytelling and literature. I was hoping for applause. For the last 2 years, PCCLD has been fearlessly led by Sherry Baca. In her time as executive, In her time as executive director, her work has resulted in a ton of things, but I want to mainly mention the completion of the Rawlings building and the Barkman renovation, and now starting the renovation and expansion at the Patrick A. Lucero Library on Pueblo's east side. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome Executive Director Sherry Baca to the stage.
Thank you, Nick. Good evening, and welcome to the Robert Hogue Rawlings Public Library for the Booklovers Ball during All Pueblo Reads. And specifically, welcome to the Riles Grand Event Space. Isn't this room amazing? Super great. I just love how it's so beautifully decorated and transformed for this evening. I am continually amazed by what the library district and, of course, our teams accomplish each year. Their hard work and dedication is truly amazing. Our community relations teams, facilities, and security teams have been very, very busy getting ready for this evening. Many thanks also to our customer-facing library teams who have hosted countless programs during the All Pueblo Reads season. It's amazing to know that All Pueblo Reads is 20 years this year. I was saying to Alka, I remember sitting with Sherman Alexi at one of these events, just truly fascinating and remarkable people coming to be with us in Pueblo. It is an honor to be with you here tonight for the Booklovers Ball. This year has been a remarkable journey filled with significant milestones and achievements that have brought us closer to our community. I would like to take this opportunity to highlight 4 key accomplishments that have defined our year. First, the grand opening of the newly renovated and expanded Barkman Library. Following the grand reopening of this beautiful building in 2023, we reopened Barkman. You saw Bandit showing you and the Barkman team telling you all about Barkman Library. Truly a fantastic project, a labor of love for the library district, and a $4 million investment in the Belmont neighborhood on Pueblo's north side. The grand opening was a testament to our commitment to expanding access to knowledge and resources. The new Barkman Library is not just a building, it's a place of learning for all ages to come together to explore and discover and grow. The overwhelming support and enthusiasm from the community during the reopening was truly heartwarming and reaffirmed our mission. In our efforts to provide excellent public library services in our community, our work to renew public libraries in Pueblo is ongoing and continues to achieve notable milestones. The expansion and renovation of the Barkman Library was crucial for several reasons. This project was not only about increasing the physical space of Barkman, we did add on about 1/3 of the space to that building, but it also helps us more effectively serve our community. The updated facilities now offer versatile spaces for events, workshops, community gatherings, and fostering a sense of belonging and collaboration. Additionally, the modernized technology and resources ensure that all patrons have access to the tools they need for education, research, and personal growth. A library patron's recent comment sums it up nicely, and I'm going to quote her. She sent us a nice letter to the library. She says, and I quote, "I love the renovated Barkman branch. The layout is really nice. The space is really great. The chairs are comfortable. And best of all, the staff is very helpful, friendly, and knowledgeable. I am so happy this branch is open again." And she closes it with an exclamation point. So we're so happy to get those kinds of comments. What a wonderful testimony to the work that's been done so far. Thank you. My second point, the start of construction on the Patrick A. Lucero Library. This project represents our ongoing dedication to providing state-of-the-art facilities that meet our patrons' evolving needs. The Lucero Library, if you know the Lucero Library, it might be your neighborhood library. It'll be a modern hub for education and community engagement, and we are excited to see that project take shape. Shortly after reopening the Barkman Library, we closed the Lucero Library for renovation and expansion. And actually, we didn't just close the library. In partnership with the city of Pueblo, we opened a temporary library location at the community center on the east side, the community center known as El Centro del Quinto Sol. It's a wonderful place that's going to be a vital lifeline for many living in that east side community. Our temporary library ensures that library visitors have a safe space, a place to access books and programming during construction. The newly remodeled and expanded Lucero Library will feature enhanced technology, more versatile spaces, and community programs. This transformation will ensure that the Lucero Library continues to be a beacon of knowledge and opportunity, providing safe and welcoming environments for all. Our commitment to keeping that library open during construction was really very important to us. Having uninterrupted service for the east side of Pueblo is very, very much a key goal in that project. So mark your calendars. In about this time next year in 2025, we look forward to unveiling a new and improved Lucero Library that will inspire and empower future generations. So we're super excited. So come back to the library for that for sure. Thank you. And I do want to say to you that both Barkman and Lucero libraries represent a $4.4 million investment into the community that the library district is making. Certainly, a tall goal for us to accomplish, but our team has done an inspiring job, I think, with the community's help to do that. My third point of pride is the launch of the Building Community Together capital campaign. This campaign is a bold step towards ensuring that our libraries remain vibrant and sustainable for the future. Our goal is to raise $2 million through the Building Community Together capital campaign, a target that will enable us to fund the much-needed renovations of both the Barkman and Lucero libraries. These funds are crucial for transforming these facilities, and they will offer, of course, welcoming spaces to better serve our community. The success of this campaign relies on our collective effort and, of course, your generosity for others in the community. We've already seen incredible support from individuals, businesses, and organizations who share our vision for the future of libraries. Every contribution, no matter the size, helps us bring ourselves one step closer to realizing our dream of enhanced library services and facilities. Together, we can create spaces that not only meet the current needs of our patrons, but also inspire future generations to learn and grow and connect. My final accomplishment I want to speak about tonight is an ongoing one, something that public libraries do every day. I would like to close my remarks by talking about PCCLD's unwavering commitment to protect the freedom to read and to access information. Yes, thank you. In an age where information is more critical than ever, libraries continue to stand as pillars of free and open access to information and ideas. We believe that everyone deserves the right to access information. I personally believe this is a basic human right, and we work tirelessly to ensure that our resources are available to all without any barriers. This commitment is at the core of everything libraries do. It drives us to innovate and adapt in an ever-changing world. Some of you may not know that our library system experienced more book challenges this year than ever before. We worked hard and very diligently to defend intellectual freedom and to resist censorship this year. There are many additional achievements that I would love to discuss, but if I kept you here any longer, we would be way past my own bedtime. So I'm gonna just wrap it up and just say a few more things about the fact that the library system is always growing and achieving and providing great services for our community. I am proud to be the library's executive director. There are so many blessings that come by standing with my library colleagues and just serving the community. It's important work, and I can't think of anything better to invest our time and energy in. I want to express my deepest gratitude to our staff, library trustees, all the boards that were just recognized. We couldn't do this work without you. Our volunteers, I was saying to Alka that the Books Again bookstore is run by 100% volunteers. That deserves some applause for sure. Together, we are building a brighter future for our community, one that is rich in knowledge, opportunity, and connection. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Your continued support of the Pueblo City County Library District is by far the most meaningful thing to us. Without your help and your support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do every day. Enjoy your evening. I want to say to Miss Alka Joshi, thank you so much for coming to Pueblo. I told her a moment ago she has a home here in Pueblo anytime. Come and visit us, and we're so happy to have her with us. Enjoy your evening, and thank you so much for everything that you do for libraries.
Thank you so much, Sherry. As you can all tell, our libraries are in great hands with Sherry at the helm. Thank you. I just got an update while Sherry was talking on our fundraising efforts, mainly our Text to Give platform. And currently we are over $4,000 raised from our Text to Give, as well as our silent auction. So first of all, thank you so much. I also just want to let you know there's still plenty of time for your Text to Give, as well as for you to check in on your items, to submit any more silent auction bids, and to make sure that you don't lose the competition, because I think that Dillon condo is pretty popular right now. Now for our presentation. Sorry, I shouldn't have mentioned that. I think that put a little spotlight on it, guys. Sorry. Now for our featured presentation. Each year, PCCLD, through the All Pueblo Reads project, features a piece of literature and brings an author to promote dialogue across cultural, generational, and socioeconomic lines. The All Pueblo Reads Committee meets to select a book and an author to feature every year. Several of our project selection committee members are in attendance this evening. If you are here, please stand to be recognized. These members include Doreen Martinez, Juan Morales, Hannah Moody-Gu, Amy Nelson, Jill Clevin, Sarah Schwartz, and Nick Potter. Thank you all for your work in selecting another wonderful book and author for us to celebrate this year. For the 20th year of All Pueblo Reads, we have chosen to feature The Henna Artist by Alka Joshi. We are pleased to host Alka this evening and look forward to her speech and insights into her book and the accompanying Jaipur trilogy. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our esteemed guest and speaker of honor. Alka Joshi is the brilliant mind behind the internationally acclaimed novel, The Henna Artist. Her debut novel, set in 1950s Jaipur, India, has captivated readers worldwide with its rich storytelling, vivid characters, and intricate depiction of Indian culture and traditions. Alka's work not only entertains, but also educates, offering a window into the lives of women in post-independence India and the challenges they faced. Born in India and raised in the United States, Alka Joshi brings a unique perspective to her writing, blending her deep understanding of Indian heritage with her experiences in the West. Her journey from a successful career in advertising and marketing to becoming a celebrated author is truly inspiring. Her dedication to her craft and her ability to weave complex narratives that resonate with readers of all backgrounds is a testament to her talent and passion for storytelling. Tonight, we are honored to have Alka Joshi with us to share her insights, experiences, and inspiration behind her remarkable work. Her contributions to literature have not only enriched our understanding of Indian culture, but have also highlighted the universal themes of resilience, empowerment, and the personal pursuit of one's dreams. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Miss Alka Joshi, author of The Henna Artist.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. I also, I think I might move to Pueblo after meeting all of you because this is amazing. You guys are such a great community, and I found out that most of you have read the book, which is not the case everywhere I go. And also, I'm happy to know how many men have read the book, which is also pretty remarkable. So kudos to the men in the audience here at Pueblo. But also, I met so many folks here tonight. I met the Boys and Girls Club, which was amazing. I met folks who are involved in the 30 Club, which I didn't know anything about, and I thought that was really remarkable. Let's see, I, of course, Sherry and Frederick, thank you so much for inviting me and for all the good work that you're doing. I'm surprised to learn you have 8 libraries just in this city, which is remarkable. Let's see, what else have I learned? Gosh, I've just learned so much here. But in any case, I am pleased to be here in Pueblo. 29 years ago, I got married, and my husband and I took a long road trip up to Idaho from our home in California. And along the way, he was driving, and he said, just tell me some stories to keep me awake. So I started to tell him some stories from India. My life in India, and he's not Indian, and so he said, those are really interesting, you should write those down. And I said, oh, yeah, fine. But, I am an advertising and marketing hack. I don't really write literary fiction. So, no, I'm not going to do that. So, in a lot of marriages, I don't really listen to my husband. So, so I was like, okay, maybe someday. And so then, so many years go by, and then there's the 2008 recession. And what that meant for my business is that a lot of my clients either had to cancel projects or put them on hold. And so, of course, I was thinking, well, I'm going to twiddle my thumbs for 2 years while this recession recovers. What else can I do? Oh, I know. My husband said maybe I could become a writer. So there are these 2-year Masters of Fine Arts programs where you can learn how to write a novel very quickly. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. At the same time, my younger brother had bought a condo in Jaipur, which is a city we used to live in at one point. And he said, you guys can come here, stay for as long as you want. This is like your vacation home. And my mother said, let's go. So she was in her 70s. I was in my 50s. And she needed a chaperone. So that's why I went with her. And so we made these trips several times because since I was in the program, I could actually take time between semesters and spring break and winter break. And during these trips, I had not been back to India in 40 years until I started going back with my mom. And during these trips, my mother showed me her India. I did not know until then that she had never wanted to come to the United States. She loved India. She loved everything about India. She liked the food. She liked the clothing. She liked the festivals. She took me to the sari bazaars and she showed me which saris you wear for a festival versus something for every day. She showed me the fruit and vegetable bazaar and all of the things that she found it really hard to find in the United States. When we first came here in 1967, cilantro was not a word that anybody had heard. And a lot of the spices, cumin and fenugreek and, all of this kind of thing. So, my mother also then took me to the jewelry bazaar and showed me how there is one space where they show the tourists what they're selling. And there's another back room where they actually show you if you're an Indian and you're getting married, that's the expensive jewelry. That's the really fun jewelry that you get to see in the back. So these are all, everything I learned from my mother, I started putting in my writing. And the other thing that she told me is that when she was 18 years old, her father was really worried that they would never find a husband for her because she was getting a little old and she had reached that threshold. And so my grandparents said, okay, Sudha, you need to come back home from college because we have found the right partner for you. And my dad, that was my dad, he was 23 years old and he had just graduated from with a BA in engineering, and he was working for the state of Rajasthan. He was building roads and dams and bridges because he had heard the call post-independence that India needed engineers to rebuild their infrastructure. So that is my dad. And he's very ambitious and, he was going places. So my mother came back home. They were married within a month. And then my mother had 3 children in 4 years. She never got to go back to school or have a career because in the 1950s, a woman in India did not do those things. So my impression, I said, Mom, when you were raised like that, how is it that you raised me so differently? Because with me, she always said, no matter what happens, Alka, you must be able to support yourself financially and do that before you get married. And by the way, you can go to whatever school you want. You can major in anything you want as long as you can support yourself. And, you pick your own partner. Whether or not you want to have children, that's your decision, how many you want to have. I am never going to get in the way of your life the way that my life has been so restricted. And so I just thought, what a remarkable woman she was to have raised her only daughter to have such a different life and a far more independent life than she had. So I wanted to pay tribute to her as I'm writing this fiction novel. And then this idea of Lakshmi emerges. Lakshmi is a stand-in for my mother. Lakshmi looks just like my mother. I have kind of blue-gray eyes. My mother has green eyes. My younger brother has green eyes. And so the main characters of the novel, as you realize, Lakshmi and Radha and then baby Nikki, they all have these kind of eyes. So I said, Mom, I'm writing this novel for you, and this is just a thank you for the way that you have raised me. But unlike your life, Lakshmi gets to leave her marriage after 2 years because it's not serving her. And she becomes a henna artist and an herbal healer in a whole other city so that she can support herself. And my mom said, well, that's really nice, honey. Thank you. But I don't think that she thought it was ever going to be what it became, because shortly after I presented the Henna Artist as my thesis, my mother died. And it was very unexpected, and it was fast. And so I was so bereft, I just stopped writing altogether. I thought, this book, I wrote it for her, and if she's not here, it doesn't make sense to keep going. But one of my thesis advisors would not let it alone. And she said, Alka, you have got to finish this novel. We think that you might have the best shot of your cohorts to get this published. So I said, okay, what do you want me to do? So she gave me some tips on, revising it further. I did that. And then I sent it all back to her, and she sent it to her agent. And her agent called me from New York and said, oh my God, I have this manuscript in front of me and I love it. I love this character of Lakshmi. I love everything about it. I said, oh my God, I'm going to get published. And Emma said, no, you're not getting published. No, you have so much work to do on this novel. Forget it. And I was under the impression that once you get an agent, boom, you're gold, and, you're going to be in bookstores immediately. She said, no, when you are not known at all in the literary world, and you have no pedigree, you've not written a short story, you've not written a chapbook of poetry, nothing, nobody knows who you are. I said, I've written ads. And she said, yeah, that has nothing to do with the publishing world. So what we'd like for you to do is to really rewrite pretty much most of the novel. And we'd like you to cut out every other chapter. So 140 pages flew out the door. And we'd like you to, think about the beginning, think about the ending, and maybe give Lakshmi more prominence and make Radha and Malik just, more in the background. So I did all of these things, and we are going back and forth over 3 years. And at the end of 3 years, I thought, I don't even think she wants to publish this thing. So, I said, Emma, when are you going to send this off to a publisher? I don't understand. And she said, okay, you're still not ready. So I don't know quite what you're missing, but I need to have you work with some professional editors in order to get this to work. And I said, well, I thought you were my editor. And Emma said, no, I'm just an agent. I just like the book, and so I've been helping you, but you need a professional editor. So then she gives me this list of editors, and I call the first person on the list. I send them my manuscript, and then she gets back to me and she goes, okay, love the novel, love this character of Lakshmi, but here are 12 pages of things that I think you should consider. Now, at this point, keep in mind, I've been working on this novel for 7 years. That's not what I want to hear. So I call another person on the list, and I send her my novel. And these are people I'm paying, right? So I send my novel to her, and she goes, love the novel, love everything about it, love this character of Lakshmi. Here are 18 pages of things that I think you should consider. I should have quit while I was ahead. But I just got so frustrated at that point, and I'm sure you all have been in that position where sometimes, you get feedback over and over and over, and at some point you just say, okay, I give up. Nobody is ready to publish this novel. I have worked so hard on it. I'm not doing this. I put it away. And a year later, I picked it back up again because I ran into it in my desk. I was looking for something for a client, and there it was sitting there. So I start looking at it, and I go, wow, if I don't publish this, then most of the people who know nothing about my mother's life, or that I wanted a different life for her, will ever get to see that. So I looked at all of the comments that I had received from those two editors, and I thought, wow, okay, these make a lot of sense. they have gotten so much smarter in the last year. And so I went through, it took me another year to go through all of their comments and to then, put them into my novel. And then I sent it all back to Emma and my agent. And I said, Emma, it's been 9 years since I first started working on the novel. And I was 52 then, and I am 61 now, and I really don't, like, time is of the essence, okay? I really need you to send it off to a publisher. And she said, okay, fine, because she could tell I was really, like, frustrated. So she sent it off, and we got a contract with HarperCollins. And so then, from then on, I had this feeling. I thought, okay, I think we're off to the races. I think this is going to work. So I actually quit my marketing stuff. I took that hat off and I gave whatever projects I had to other friends. And then I worked on this novel with my new editor who was at HarperCollins, and she had some changes that she wanted me to make. So then I made those changes. It took us about a year, and then we had 6 months to go before the book was going to be released per the contract. So in those 6 months, the book goes off to the printer. The inside is printed, the cover is printed, they're married to one another. The books are being sold at the same time by salespeople. They're going to go off to distribution houses, at bookstores, and at Amazon and Target, and wherever it's going. And then finally, the book will be released, and the date is set at the time that you sign that contract with HarperCollins or any other publisher. The date is already set. So in those 6 months, I started working on another book, which is actually going to be my 4th book coming out in April. But Malik, and I'm sure since you guys have read the book, you know about Malik. You know how charming he is. You know how loyal he is, and he's really hard to get away from. He kept coming into my head and saying, Alka, you know those 140 pages you cut out of that novel? Many of those had my scenes in them, and I really need for you to write this novel. You've already got half of it written. So when my agent said, well, what else have you got? I said, well, I could write this story about Malik. She said, give me 20 pages. I gave her 20 pages. She sent them to the publisher, and right away we got a second book contract. That is very unusual because the Henna Artist wasn't even on the shelves at that point. And so all of a sudden, I'm working on book number 2. And as I'm doing that, my release date for the Henna Artist comes up. And that release date was, get ready for it, March the 10th, 2020. And on March the 11th, talk about perseverance. On March the 11th, 2020, the World Health Organization said, okay, everybody, you got to shelter in place. Don't go out anywhere. Don't go to the library. Don't go to the bookstores. You all need to, skip any kind of socializing. So my book launches had all been planned for the month of March, and I didn't get to have one of them. They all got canceled one by one by one. No book signings, nothing. I am bereft. Once again, I am like, oh my God, nobody's going to see my mother's story. And so I think what I decided is I had a pity party first for about 2 days. And then I said, okay, I have got to get back on the horse. I got to do something about this. So I reached out to social media and I said, please contact me. Here is my, email address. Here is my home address. Here is my phone number. Here is all my contact information. Please call me and talk to me about this book, because otherwise I'm not going to get to talk to anybody about it at all. And we didn't know how long the pandemic was going to last. So it just kept going on and on and on. And so then people did start calling me and, reaching out on social media. And so at this point, I've done about 900 book clubs since the book came out 4 years ago. And I've done it on Zoom. I've done it in person, all kinds of ways. And so if you have a book club and you want me to reach out, all you have to do is, look on the back of any of my books in the acknowledgement section, the very last sentence, I always put my email address. And my editor had told me, she goes, oh, don't put no, you'll get stalkers. And that's never happened. So I'm delighted to do it on every book. So at that point, then Reese Witherspoon, her people call and they say, oh my God, Reese loves this book. and we're going to name it as one of our book picks for 2020. So then all hell breaks loose, and the producers start calling, and they say, okay, we'd like to turn this into some kind of a screen adaptation. And I had all these Zooms with the different producers, and one group just really knocked my socks off, and that was Michael Edelstein. And he came prepackaged with Frida Pinto, the actress who wanted to play Lakshmi, and then Miramax TV, and all three of them came together to put the money in for the option. And Michael said to me, the first thing that he said is, Alka, we really see the Henna Artist as an Indian Downton Abbey. And I said, sold, that's it. That's how I see it too. I want it to be that lush and that beautiful and beautifully scripted. So they are off and talking to all of these people to try to get it made. They went to many different streaming companies because I wanted a bingeable series. I didn't just want a movie. And so they got 5 offers from different streaming companies, and Netflix won out. So it's in development at Netflix. And then The Secret Keeper of Jaipur came out, and that also became a bestseller. And I know many of you guys have read that. And then The Perfumist of Paris came out because my agent said, what else have you got? And I said, well, I was thinking about writing this story about Radha, and we're advancing the story once again into, like, now we've got a span of 18 years with all these different characters. And so I said, I know that she is a perfumist, and I know she's going to be in Paris. And so that is where the idea started. And then it became a thing. And so she said, okay, write me 20 pages. I said, I don't have time to write you 20 pages. And she said, write me 3 paragraphs. I did. And HarperCollins sent a 3rd book contract. So sometimes, people say to me, you're an overnight success, but I have to keep in mind those first 10 years that it took to write The Henna Artist. And I think a lot of people ask me about my age. Like, did I ever think at my age I could do something like this? And I thought, well, I never thought my age was a barrier. It never once occurred to me that I'm too old to start something new or to learn something new. And I think all of you who are patrons of the libraries, you know this. I mean, you already know this. You read things all the time. You read about different cultures. You read about different kinds of people. Anything is possible at any age. And so I have so many readers. I have thousands of readers who have either written to me or come up to me after an event like this and said to me, I am so fired up now to do the thing that I had left behind 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and I want to do it now. So seeing you with all your gray hair up there, I know that it's possible. So that's kind of how the whole thing came about. The 3rd book, by the way, I had to go to Paris to research. And I ended up staying in this apartment that I knew my character would live in. And I had it in mind. I looked online. I found that apartment. I stayed there for 2 weeks so that I could imitate her moves as she is going through the apartment, as she goes out of the apartment. Where does she get her croissant? Where does she go drop her girls off to their school? How does she get to Notre Dame? How does she get to the Jardin de Luxembourg? So all of these kinds of things. And so it became a real treat for me. But also in the making of that book, I researched all of the perfume houses. I went to talk to master perfumers in New York City, in Paris, in Grasse, in Lisbon, and that all of that information, makes its way into the book in some fashion, and that was a really fun thing to be able to do. The 4th book is, and I think this is where I kind of want to stop and talk a little bit about why these books are so important to me. When we first came to the United States and I was 9 years old, I was asked all the time what it's like to be from a country that's so poor, and why we let sacred cows run on the streets. Why do we let so many people starve? Why is India so dirty? And as a 9-year-old, I didn't quite know how to answer any of those questions. I didn't have any answers. And to me, India was just the India I came from. I come from a middle-class family, so it wasn't like I was so aware of the poverty. I mean, it lives all around us, because in India, you can have a very wealthy person right next to a very poor person. It's not segregated in the way that it might be in Western countries. So I think I ended up feeling very ashamed of where I was from because of all the feedback that I got. And so for a long time, I didn't want to even acknowledge that I was from India. I didn't, when people said, where are you from? I would just say Kansas or, wherever it is we were. Because, we literally went from India to Ames, Iowa, and it was a, culture shock in addition to the weather being so much colder. But I think that as I grew into this person who is researching India continually, writing about India, I realized, wow, I come from an incredibly rich culture, a culture that was so rich and so skilled in textiles, in shipbuilding, in steel making, and of course in the arts and crafts that you're all aware of today. That is why the colonizers wanted to come to India. At the time that colonizers came to India, India exported 25% of its products overseas, and they were a very wealthy country. This was a wealthy country. But, that's why colonizers come anywhere, right? Because, there's stuff that they can take. And so as I started to learn that history, pre-independence and then post-independence, and the fact that once all of that wealth had been plundered, India was left very poor. Tens of millions of Indians were out of jobs because the British in particular had systematically destroyed the textile industry, the steelmaking industry, the shipbuilding industry. And so just having that kind of background helps me a lot to be able to talk about India now in a very different way and to sort of explain even to myself all of those comments that I was receiving those years ago and what that means to somebody like me. And so what's lovely is I hear from a lot of you tonight that you have learned things about India that you didn't know, either about the culture, about the practices, the rituals, the way that the classes interact with one another, and just sort of I hope I've let you into some of, I think, why I love my birth country, and why I think it's important for the world to recognize her. So, for example, in the Henna Artist, I tell you a lot about the herbal remedies that come from India. Those Starbucks golden lattes, those are filled with turmeric, and turmeric comes from the Indian subcontinent, and it's something that you use for anti-inflammatory properties. And, like my dad still drinks at the age of 92 a glass of milk with turmeric in it every single night. And he can outrun me. So, and then, of course, in the Perfumist of Paris, I learned through all of my research that many of the base ingredients in fragrances, whether you use them for your body or whether you use them for your home or your detergents or your candles, those base ingredients all come from the Indian subcontinent, and they have for years. That's what the European traders were buying from the East and bringing back to the West. And then with the fourth novel, there was an artist by the name of Amrita Sher Gill, whom I don't want people to forget about. Had she lived over the age of 28, more than the age of 28, and had she not died in 1941, I think more of us would know about her work. And I think it's, once again, something that comes from India that is worth, your knowing about. So that book is called 6 Days in Bombay, and it's coming out on April 15th. So anyway, I just want to leave you with the idea that, Pueblo is such a diverse and a place that is really hungry for learning, and you guys are so open. So I feel like I'm at home here, being able to talk to you about some things that I think are also worth learning about. So thank you so much for having me today.
So you get to stay mic'd up too.
Oh, okay.
Because we have questions for you that were submitted from the audience.
Okay.
So we will pull them up here on the screen, and then I'll also read them for you, and you can read them on the screen as well, Alka.
Oh, here. Is it here?
No. I will go. We'll be one minute strips and over here really quick. All right, we want to have a record of numbers of laptops on stage. So the first question that we have is, what did you discover about yourself while writing the book?
Well, I think what I discovered is that I needed to learn a lot more history about India before I could actually write about it. And so with each book, I learn a little bit more, and I try to, tell people, I think, the things that I think are important in order for people to be able to appreciate India a little bit more.
So this ties in Sherry's presentation. Please share with us your view on book bans in public libraries. And then if you could, please touch on school libraries and censoring and how that affects the future of the United States.
So many of us authors are very worried about book banning because we realize, hey, any of our books could be next, right? I talk about so many women's issues in my books that are not considered okay, in some circles. So I think that many of us are working toward making sure that libraries stay front and center of people's minds. We do a lot of free kind of talks at libraries. We do a lot of stuff with librarians, and I think we're going to be okay. I don't know why. I just think we're going to be okay because I think that the idea of shutting down people's voices, whether they're male or female, I think that doesn't sit well with most people on a heart level. So I think that we're going to be able to rise above that. So.
That was a tough question. So in your book, you use a lot of proverbs. Mm-hmm. And so where did those proverbs come from? Were they inspiration from your life? Or the inspiration from your time in India, from your research? Where did they originate?
My dad was born in 1933. And so he used to go on a lot of those Gandhi marches when he was a teenager. Then, of course, his time period, they talked a lot in proverbs. And I think probably in this country, too, at a certain time period, people used to talk in proverbs as a way to express something poignant. And so my dad talks in proverbs. And so I've just started writing down all of his proverbs. And then, I did some research to have some more. But my favorite proverb was, only a fool lives in the water and remains an enemy of the crocodile. And I loved it so much because I thought, well, Lakshmi is that person who is living in the water, and she doesn't want to be the fool because she recognizes Parvati is the crocodile. So when they asked me, what would you like to title that first book? I said, I want it to be called The Enemy of the Crocodile. And they said, yeah, that's not going to work. Is it all right if we just call it the Henna Artist? So I said, okay. So of course they were right. And so ever since then, you guys, I just let them title my books because I obviously am not a good titler.
So another tough question. Do you feel that women in South Asia today have more self-agency than they did in the past?
This question really depends on whether you are in the cities or whether you are in a rural area. So I have gone back to India specifically to talk to women about their agency in many different parts of India. So I went to 5 major cities, and then I spoke to some folks in smaller towns. And what I find is that in the rural areas, not much has changed. In the rural areas, girls are still being married at early ages. They are still having babies at early ages, and they don't have schooling beyond, let's say, 8th grade or something. But here is something interesting: is many of them are learning to do the henna art as a way of making a living. even if as a supplement to the income, or even if the husband, they have to leave a husband or something. And in the cities, however, a huge thing has changed. In the last 30 years, India's middle class has grown exponentially. The high tech, the engineering, the medicine, all the different kinds of ways in which you're exposed to South Asians here in Pueblo. And so what that's done is families can send both their daughters and their sons to college, which is huge because it only was the boys, who got to go to college. So when women get to go to college, well, then they are exposed to a whole new set of ideas and freedoms and different kinds of people that they may not have met otherwise. So these women are being able to say, you know what, I don't want to get married at 18. I'm going to wait until I finish my BA or my master's or my PhD, or I don't want to have children until I have 2 years of work experience under my belt, because I don't want to lose out on those years of work. So there is more negotiation going on between the girls and the families. Some women are actually, some of these young women who are able to make their own living. And in India, the household staff is less expensive than it is here, much less expensive. So women are able to hire people to take care of their children while they're still working very easily. And at some point, they may decide that they don't like the person they're married to. And so the divorce rate in India is climbing because these women are able to take care of their children by themselves. 70% of them still prefer to have an arranged marriage, which really surprised me. So I asked them, I said, why? And they said, well, look, we're really busy getting our degrees. We're really busy working, really busy establishing ourselves in our careers. We don't also have time to look for a husband. And so, it would be so much easier if somebody did the job for us. And who better than our parents, who know us more than anybody? They know whether we like coffee or tea in the morning. They know whether we like to eat dessert or whether we like to have savories. And they know whether we like to stay out late at night or not. So why not have our parents do it? So 70% of marriages are still arranged. The other ones are called love marriages. And I ran across a lot of those. And many of those I found between Hindus and Muslims because they are exposed to each other in a work environment or at school. So I find that I think in almost every culture you find this, there is progress in one direction, and then maybe in another direction, there are some negative consequences of what happens. So I think that, sort of divorce and the disintegration of families is also happening at the same time that all of this agency is being given to women.
So our final question starts off with a compliment and wants to let you know that your books are beautiful and captivating.
Thank you.
And then wants to know the story of creating the Jaipur trilogy. Did you start out wanting to make it a trilogy, or did that just happen through your writing process?
It was completely organic. The Jaipur trilogy would not have become a Jaipur trilogy, had it not been for the circumstances, right? First, Malik says to me, I've got to, you've got to tell my book. So then I write that second book, and then my agent says, what else have you got? And I go, well, I have this idea for this third book. And then I start writing that book. And then I started calling it a trilogy. And my editor said, stop it. Stop calling it a trilogy, because that means you can't go any further with it. And I was like, well, have you heard of Star Wars? So there's like 5 prequels, 5 sequels. So I said, I will go back to these characters at some point because they're just in my heart. They are all somehow conglomerations of different people I know, or they're from my imagination, or like Lakshmi is so much my mother, and I don't think that they will ever leave me. And then with the last book, that there is a whole new generation coming after these people. Radha has her children, Sheila has her children, Malik has his children, and I want them all to have a life of their own. So I'll probably end up writing another book that just focuses on that generation. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you again, Alka. Our community has enjoyed the Henna Artist, This All Pueblo Reads. We will start our book signing in just a moment. But first, I want to just make an apology. I missed one sponsor, and that's Angela's Chapel and the Macaulay family. Did not mean to miss you all. You are huge, amazing library supporters, and I just missed you in the script, so I apologize, but thank you so much for your continued support of Pueblo Library. You all are amazing, and we count you as steadfast supporters. So thank you, and a huge mea culpa. I'm sorry. If you'd like to hear more from Alka or know others who would enjoy hearing from her, she will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. right here in the Rawlings Library. Be sure to tell your friends and family, as we have great appetizers. We have 3 different types of chai that you can sample, and they're all for free. The doors open at 10 a.m. and we want to remind everyone that the silent auction will close in 10 minutes. The bar will close at 9:45. So now is a great time to check on your silent auction items and place any last-minute bids to secure any item that you may have had your eye on. Finally, I would like to thank the community relations staff that made tonight and the beautiful decorations possible. A huge thank you goes to Sarah Schwartz, Ann Boyden, Amanda Daly, Dave Hayden, Gloria Madrill, Jay Ramos, and Michelle Vigil. These individuals deserve a huge round of applause. Thank you all for your work. This was all done in-house, so we do good work. The line will begin to queue just in front of the elevator doors. So as you make your way out, you'll pass the silent auction again. We'll begin just in front of the main doors. Staff will be at the line to assist you with the book signing. Books are also available for purchase if you need to get your copy of the Henna Artist. CSU Pueblo Bookstore is just outside of the main door, so you can purchase your book right before you get it signed. This concludes our evening. We look forward to seeing each and every one of you at the 2025 Booklovers Ball. Thank you again for coming, and have a great evening. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll see you Not yet? Okay. Not yet.